Okay, so I hope everyone can hear me very well, clear. So, welcome to our class. This is decision theory class. So we shall go through the theory part, and then later, if time allows, we shall do computation from the board. So, but for now, let us use the screen from our computer. Now, when we talk about decision theory, we refer to the decisions which a person make. So for a person to make a decision, then that person must have various uh, act or alternatives to choose from. Now, when we talk about a decision, from our screen there, we can see that refers to an act of choosing an action among alternatives in consideration, or alternatives available, or alternatives available. So that is all. That is all what we mean when we say decision. So choosing from various set of alternatives available or in consideration. Now you have the word decision making also means the process of making the selection from a given set of alternative course of actions available, and that the course of action which is considered to meet the objective of the decision problem more satisfactory than other as judged by the decision maker. That one is correct. So we are saying that the decision-making process is the process of selecting from a various set of alternatives. So the process which results in selection from a set of alternative course of action, and that the course of action which is considered, and that course of action is considered to meet the objective of the decision maker, decision problem more satisfactory. That is all about the decision-making process. So the process of choosing from set of alternatives, which is considered the best in the knowledge of the decision maker, is what we call the uh, decision making. Now, decision theory in quantitative analysis is a field of study that focuses on making rational and informed choices or decision in a situation where uncertainty and the multiple alternatives exist, and and multiple alternatives exist. So that is all about it. So remember, when you're talking about decision theory, we are talking about making informed decision from various set of alternatives available to the decision maker, and that set of alternatives must maximize what they want. So it must maximize what they want, or it must solve the decision problem that they are having. So that's all about the decision making theory. We move on. Now it combines mathematical and statistical methods with behavioral and psychological insight to help individual organizations make better decisions. So that is a good importance of decision theory. So it combines mathematical and statistical method with behavioral and psychological insights to help individuals and organizations to make better decisions. So that's all about it. That is all about it. Decision theory is characterized with the following features. Number one, so it must have the following. Number one, set of possible course of action. Tumesema. So when we were talking about the decision, we said refer to the set of possible course of action which has various risks of alternatives. So number one, it must have set of possible course of action. Number two, it must have list of alternatives available, the one a person may choose from. And then the last one, it must have payoffs. So the payoffs must be known. We talk about payoffs, we might talk about profit or losses. So you need to know what is the final profit for a particular decision and what is the final loss for a particular decision, so that you can make an informed decision. Concepts of decision theory and components. So components. Number one, we have decision maker. Decision maker is a person or a group or organization responsible for making decisions. So that person or the organization or the firm or the business, which is responsible for making decision, is what we call a decision maker. Number two, a decision problem. Number two, decision problem. Now, a decision problem is a situation in which the decision maker must choose between several alternative course of action in which in uh sorry it's a situation in which a decision maker must choose between several alternative course of action, each with its own associated risk and reward. Each with its associated risk and reward. Each with associated risk and return. That one is very correct. So when we talk about a decision problem, we are saying this is a situation where a decision maker must choose between various uh, several alternatives available, which they are associated with a particular risk and reward. And therefore, for in order person to make the decision, then the person is compelled to make a decision which might either reduce risk or increase reward. And that one is very hard. So making decision in a particular scenario, it is very hard, and therefore we term it as a decision problem, because the process of making decision between which alternative is better for you, then that process is very hard to make in a decision which will not harm the business. So in that case, we can term it as decision problem. So a situation where the decision maker must choose between several alternative course of action with which they are associated with a particular risk and a particular reward. Okay, that one is fine. Let's go to this one, structured decision problem. So these are those structured decision problems are those in which the decision maker has a clear understanding of the problem, there are variable alternatives and the possible outcomes. So in this situation, it is where the decision maker has a clear understanding of what is happening in terms of what is the problem. And then you also have a clear understanding of the available opportunities where he can choose from. And also you know the outcomes, what is the possible outcome of those projects in terms of either profit or losses, either profit or losses. So that one we can term it, as a structured. Then you have unstructured decision problem, and therefore we can say this is where the decision maker has incomplete or imperfect information about the problem, the alternatives, or the possible course of action. So the decision maker doesn't have all the information that he needs to make the decision. And therefore, knowing the alternatives and the outcomes is very, very hard. Another term we can talk about, it is the word alternative, which can also mean course of action, which can also mean the act, or it can also mean the strategy. Now, when we talk about alternative, we are talking about the list, which is available for the decision maker to choose from. So the list of items available for the decision maker. Now let us state it. So this refers to the multiple courses of action that the decision maker can choose from. So you can substitute the word course of action with the list. So we can say this refers to the possible list of actions or items. To refer to the multiple possible list of items that a decision maker can choose from. So for example, let us go with an example. Now, for example, a company want to produce pen A, pen B, or pen C. Pen A has a different market price with pen B, and also pen C has a different market price from pen A and pen B. And therefore, the list available a number of pens that the company can make from, they can either choose to produce pen A, pen B, or pen C. So that are the lists. Ama pia ukienda shopping, if you decide to go to a shopping center to buy things, you have the list of items that you want to go and purchase. So those list of items, we call them alternatives, where you can choose from. So alternatives. Number 4, let us talk about the state of nature, which is also called the outcome or the event. And in most cases, they are donated using a probability. So in most cases, they are donated using a probability. And we can say, refer to the possible future events So it refers to all the possible future events that the decision maker must develop and exhaust. So all the future events. Which future events are we talking about? Now, when we talk about future events, we can say maybe in the future we expect that the economy will be favorable. It can be favorable, it can be moderate, it can be worse. Now, when we combine economy in those three terms, then we can call them state of future event or state of nature in the future to refer to the all possible future events that a decision maker must develop and exhaust. I.e., we can have a boom economy, a recession, we can have moderate, we can have worse, and so on. So that's all about the state of nature. Let's go to next, objectives. Now, decision theory helps define the objectives and the goals that the decision maker wants to achieve. So decision theory will help the decision maker to identify the objectives and goals that he or she wants to achieve. These objectives include either to maximize profit. So it is either you maximize profit as a business or as a person, or you either minimize on cost, or it is either you satisfy a particular want. So you satisfy or you want to achieve a certain level of satisfaction. So in that case, you want to satisfy your wants. So those are the main objectives that you can find when we're talking about the decision theory. It's either you maximize on profit, you minimize on cost, or you maximize on a particular desire or satisfaction. Okay. Next, number 6. Let's talk about uncertainty. We talk about uncertainty. And when we talk about uncertainty, now you can say these are the challenges that which faces a decision maker. Now remember, we don't know about tomorrow. We don't know what will happen to the cost of production tomorrow. We don't know about inflation, what might happen. We don't know if we shall have what we call the political instability tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. And therefore, we have the aspect of uncertainty in business. Now, one key challenges in decision theory is dealing with uncertainty. So most real-world decisions involve incomplete information or probabilistic outcome. Now, when we talk about uncertainty, this is a situation where we don't have any clue of what will happen. And therefore, this item is usually represented using probability. It is represented using probability. So we don't have a clue on what will happen. We don't know the outcome. We don't know the list of alternatives that we may choose from because maybe it is changing from time to time. So we don't have the perfect value of the information in the market. And then we term it uncertainty. Number next, probabilistic model. Now, decision theory often use probabilistic model to represent uncertain events and their probabilities. Now, probabilistic models are those models which are used to represent uncertainty events in the economy. So, and in most cases, we shall be using probabilistic models. In most cases, some were scrapped, some are still there. For example, we have the inventory probabilistic model, which is not there. It was Itolewa and others. So for now, I think we shall go with few ones tutaangalia kwa swali tukifanya. But for now, we know what we need to know that when we talk about probabilistic model, we mean that these are models which are used to represent uncertain events in the market, uncertain events in the market. Now we talk about payoff or outcomes. Payoff or outcomes, these are the final product of any alternative that a person might choose from. So if a person choose to produce pen A, then after producing that pen, there is a amount at a pata from selling the pen. Same to pen B and C. Now the payoff can either be in form of profit or it can also be in form of a loss. Now let us say each alternative in a decision problem is associated with a possible potential outcome or payoff. The payoff can either be a positive or a negative. And represents the consequences of choosing a particular alternative. And it represents the consequences of choosing a particular alternative. And you can say that the payoff can either be positive, meaning it's a profit. So if it's positive, it's a profit. And if negative, then we can term it as a loss because we are talking about business or an individual who want to maximize on profit or losses. So it can either be a profit or a loss in most scenarios. So a payoff can either be a profit or a loss. And we are saying this refers to the final outcome of a particular event or alternatives to refer to the final outcome of a particular alternative or of a particular alternative that a decision maker has choose from. Next, we have the conditional payoff. We have the conditional payoff. There, number 9. Now, when we talk about conditional payoff, we're talking about the expected outcome or value associated with a decision or an action. So the keyword is the word expected. The keyword there is the word expected. So when we talk about conditional payoff, we mean that this refers to the expected outcome or value associated with a decision or an action, considering specific conditions or events. Remember, when we talk about conditions, we mean events. We mean events. So considering specific actions, considering specific conditions or events which might influence the result, But an example, ukisema, ukiambiwa define conditional payoff and then you say this refers to the expected outcome or value associated with the decision, utapata. So the keyword there is the word expected outcome or value associated with a particular decision or a particular alternatives where an individual can choose from. Number next is a payoff table. Now this is a table which represents or which shows the profits from a given alternatives. So a table which shows a table which shows expected payoff of each alternatives under various possible state of nature, possible state of nature. Now, what you need to know in this situation now is that when we talk about the payoff table, your alternative is always on a vertical vertical side. So what you need to know that all the alternatives are always on vertical line, and state of nature and state is very important. State of nature are always on horizontal side. So in an exam, if you find that the state of nature is on vertical side, you need to transpose that table. Ama ukipata the alternatives available. All the alternatives available. So we have the word here available. All the alternatives available. Ukizipata ziko on horizontal line, then you need to transpose it to make it vertical. That one is very, very important. That one you need to put it as an NB. You need to put it as an NB. We continue. Decision criteria. We talk about decision criteria. Now, decision criteria, these are the criteria for evaluating and comparing alternatives. And we shall talk about them later. So we have those criteria. So those criteria, when we talk about criteria, we mean these are those criteria used for evaluating and comparing alternatives. I'm a measure, you can call them. Let us call them measures. Let us move the word criteria. You can call them measures. These are measures. So these are measures used used for evaluating and comparing alternatives. So a good common example, we have the expected monetary value here. We have expected monetary value. Tutafanya maswali zake. So expected monetary value, monetary value. We have the expected utility. We have the risk analysis. We can talk about what else can we talk about? We have value of perfect information, value of perfect information. What else can we add apart from the value of perfect information? We can talk about Laplace etc. So etc. That one I think is fine. Now we can talk about regrets or the opportunity loss. Now when you talk about regrets, so when you talk about regrets in decision theory, so in decision theory we mean opportunity loss. We mean opportunity loss. So when you talk about regret in decision theory, we mean loss. So regret means opportunity loss. Now a regret. So a person might. So this is a situation.
Are we still on? Ama ni network yangu imehang?
Nilikuwa nimemute. Sio kama mlikuwa mkinisikia ama nimekuanga Nimeona nimefanya makosa. Nilikuwa nimemute. Mlikuwa mkinisikia kweli?
Hapana.
Muda kiasi gani?
Sana.
Bwana, mbona hamsemi bana? Kumbe simu yangu imemute. Yes.
Sawa.
Na wengine nilimute saa ngapi? Nimekaa sana.
Si sana, kitu kama 15 minutes.
Yes. Kama 15 minutes. Kama 2 minutes.
15.
Yes.
15 minutes. Wa. Kwa hivyo hakuna kitu tumefanya basi. Wa. Sawa, let me see what I can do.